Cashiers should be able to have chairs. So I personally haven't worked in retail or fast food, but from what my friend says it sounds awful. Standing for about 6 to 8 hours straight sounds terrible, and it makes me wonder why they don't just give them any kind of chair. I don't think anyone's going to be terribly offended because when they go to order or check out their cashier is sitting down. Edit. Oh my god, thank you for the upvotes, I was not expecting this. UK here, cashiers have chairs. Edit. Damn, this is blowing up. I don't mean every single one, just a lot, even most in my experience. Because it looks unprofessional, but a professional looking job usually always involves sitting. They do in some European countries. Even has settings to adjust the height/back of the chair. I don't know how this is unpopular. Of fucking course they shouldn't have to stand. Aldi and I believe Save a Lot provides chairs. The cashiers at Aldi always looks less miserable than other places. But how will I feel like you're respecting me if you aren't standing up? Honestly, I think little stuff like this is gonna change when millennials start owning more businesses. Low-key, when I'm shopping I don't care if you're sitting or standing or whatever. Just give me my groceries and let me go home. If you do care that a dude is sitting instead of standing, you got some weird issues going on up there. When I was a cashier years ago, it did suck standing all the time. Now that I work in an office, 100% of my co-workers have standing desks. It's kinda a weird flip, because in one situation it seems cruel to make people stand, but in the other it's cruel to force people to sit all day. Honestly though, all my cashier jobs allowed me to sit between customers. It would have been difficult to do my job sedentary too, absolutely. A cashier sitting in a chair does not take away from the shopping experience. That's always been so weird to me. When I worked at Container Store I was written up for leaning on a counter during the update meeting at the start of a shift. We were in the staff room with no customers to be offended by my lazy posture. But we don't lean during chat-in. In America it is disrespectful if a slave sits while his master is standing. I think so too. All of the grocery store cashiers I saw in Germany always had one. In the US I've noticed some in Walmart have them, but I think every cashier needs one. Standing for hours at a time really wears on your joints. It's cruel and yet usual to make cashiers stand all day, it's so fucked up. Jobs take pleasure in being annoying. I like that you think about others, bravo. Because in America we have a very calculated system of making workers hate themselves and their jobs incredibly, but also relying on every single day of work to survive. That creates a culture of abusing workers in small ways and then dealing with it because you gotta do what you gotta do. I can't believe they're allowed to have chairs elsewhere. In the US, if you're not doing something while there's no customers, you get yelled at. You have to be doing some sort of extra cleaning or organizing usually. I've had a leg injury for over 2 years now and recently had surgery. All I want was a fucking job at Aldi because they have chairs for their cashiers. I worked as a cashier in an Australia supermarket for years. The way the registers are set up, you can't work and sit. I worked with a lady with disabilities and she had a chair to sit on between customers, or while customers were paying. The setup literally did not allow you to sit, scan groceries, pack groceries, receive payments, and give receipts. The only exception to this in Australia is Aldi, but they don't have to pack bags, so sitting is possible with their setup. Let me guess, you're from the USA. Why the hell don't cashiers have chairs? Shifts are usually way longer than 6 to 8 hours in my retail experience. And I 100% agree. Aldi is a groovy store that requires their cashiers sit, and they've done studies on it that state productivity and morale go up when cashiers can sit. I think it's good to have the option. When I was in retail I had a chair at the till, but I preferred to stand. Go work at Aldi. They do have chairs. If you have to sit down to operate a sewing machine, then it should be perfectly fine to operate a cash register or any other machine while sitting down as well. The job function of a cashier doesn't actually require standing unless you have to get something off of a shelf or otherwise leave the register. Ugh, yes. I work retail, and just got off shift. My feet and lower back are killing me. I work electronics and periodically have people who make me move TVs that are bigger than me. In America, retail workers are not allowed to have chairs. It's some kind of fucked up puritanical holdover that every grocery store company and box store enforces, even high-end ones like Whole Foods. There are countries in the world where cashiers don't have chairs. Cashiers do have chairs, at least in Europe. And nobody gets offended by it. It's just American stupidity. I work in a pharmacy in Quebec, Canada. We have a chair. It's nowhere near comfy, doesn't have a back or anything, but after a good amount of hours, sitting in that still feels like heaven. Would 100% recommend. However, working in a factory with no chair ever, standing for 8 to 10 hours doing the same shit over and over again kills your back. Would 100% not recommend. After 2 years of that, my back is in pain a lot, and often glad I got that chair now because my back is not what it used to be. Now it takes maybe 2 to 3 hours standing before I want to complain about back pain. Thanks a lot, high school job. I used to work as a cashier for Home Depot. One of the registers had a stool behind it, and when I sat down on it one day when it was slow and there were no customers, I was scolded and told that the stool was only to be used by another cashier who was pregnant. Like, I get it, obviously a pregnant woman should be able to sit while working, but why couldn't the rest of us use the stool when she wasn't there? I very recently left a food service job in which I was doing upwards of 25k steps a shift in extreme weather, blazing summers and cold nights, and would be walking for literally 5 to 12 hours straight. The shifts were 12 scheduled hours, but many days I would have to fight to even get one 30-minute break. On the days I was lucky enough to receive both of my legally mandated breaks instead of just one, I'd be able to drive home without sitting in the parking lot waiting for my legs to stop throbbing. On some occasions it was so bad that I couldn't get out of bed once I sat down, and if I did, every step would send shooting pains through my body. Fuck food service, and everyone deserves a chair.